What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Boring Money Show. I'm your host. It's your boy, Mr. Boring Money. And today I have a very interesting topic that I want to discuss in today's episode. We're going to be talking about the two things that can actually buy you more time. Now, I know that sounds a little interesting, but hear me out. All right. Now, one of the things that I've been fascinated by over the last few years has just been going like success principles. And I found that principles, not methodologies, but principles, truly understanding the principles that allow things to work the way that they work is what's allowed me to be successful in a lot of different ventures that I've been able to pursue. Now, what I want to do is clearly communicate that this is not financial advice by any means whatsoever. All I'm doing is sharing what's worked for me, some of the investment principles that I've learned over the years. And this is for pure entertainment purposes. If you're seeking financial advice, or if you have issues with your own portfolio, seek a financial advisor, somebody who's licensed and who's qualified to be able to meet you at your unique needs. This is just for educational purposes and entertainment purposes only. The success principle that I want to talk about that can actually buy you more time are two things. First one is knowledge. Second one is proximity. This principle hasn't always been a success principle of mine, but as I reflect on everything good that's happened in my life and business, it hit me like a stack of bricks. All the success I've experienced was a result of having the right information at the right time and being around the right people. One of my core tenets is valuing people and my time. All right. So making the most use of my time and making sure that I treat people in a way that drives my reputation forward. All right. So when I thought about it, I was like, wow, like every single thing that's happened has been the result of getting the right information at the right time and being around the right people. And as time continues to pass, these two things collapse time, right? So let me break down knowledge. Knowledge allows you to shortcut how long it takes you to solve a problem or find a solution. The cool thing about this, because my background is as an athlete. All right. So as an athlete, I've always had coaches. All right. Now, the coaches may not have been as athletically gifted as I was, but they knew something that I didn't. They had a perspective on the game that I didn't. And they could see things about how I played the game that I couldn't see in myself. So I always valued my coaches and the perspective. I've been fortunate to have really good coaches in my life that gave me great feedback and then knew how to communicate things to me and allow me to just kind of speed up the kind of progress that I would see. All right. And now when I translate this to business, I knew that if I wanted to make progress, I needed to have a coach. All right. I was just telling the story when I first started as a personal trainer, not even online, just as a personal trainer. I was experiencing very little success, right? I was trying to figure it out on my own. I was doing these things. I was working, trying to figure out how to like get more referrals for my clients. And then I met a guy. At the time, I was in New York. And then I met a guy who was making like $300,000 a year as a personal trainer. All right. I found him. I was doing some job search. And I found him on Facebook and I reached out to him. And then we ended up meeting for some coffee. And he was telling me that he was doing like $300,000 a year as a personal trainer, in-person trainer. I was like, no way. Show me. All right. And he showed me his book of business. And I was like, dude, how can I come work for you? My first thing, I was like, dude, I want to come work for you. How can I come work for you? Do you have any openings? I don't even care. I'll work for you for free. Let me just come watch, observe how you're doing what you're doing. Next day, I was living with my brother at the time. I moved from New York to deep into New Jersey to live and work for this guy. And my brother thought I was crazy. But this guy knew something that I didn't. He wasn't smarter than me. He wasn't a harder worker than me. He wasn't even better looking than me, to be honest. But he knew something that I didn't. I was like, I have to learn what he knows that I don't know because it's producing better results for him. And when I moved in with the guy and started working for him, I observed him work. He ran his in-person business like a well-oiled machine. It was a work of art. I was fascinated by how he did it. And I was just asking questions about his business model and how he trained his clients and transitioned them from one workout to the next. He was all about being as efficient as possible to the point where he even figured out how to get his own clients to warm themselves up for 15 minutes and cool themselves down for 15 minutes. So his actual training sessions with them was 30 minutes. And it was just like, man, it was like a conveyor belt. It was a work of art. And watching him do this, I started to adopt the same model. And within 3 months of working for the guy, I was doing 100 sessions per week personally. Now, I had been a trainer since like 2012, and I'd never, ever gotten to the point where I was able to do this. And this was 2017 at this time. So trying to figure out on my own, 5 years, never gotten this kind of breakthrough. I started working with this guy, working for him for 3 months, start implementing what I saw him do. And in 3 months, I was doing more personal training sessions per week than I was doing more personal training sessions in a month than I ever did in a year. Right. And that was because knowledge, the knowledge that I accumulated from this man dramatically shortened the amount of time that it would have taken me to get the results that I wanted. He knew something that I didn't, right? And as I start thinking about this and really reflect on it, it just re-solidifies this principle. Everything good that's ever happened has come from having the right knowledge at the right time and meeting the right people. So knowledge and proximity kind of go hand in hand. All right. So because he gave me the knowledge, but also the proximity, being close to the guy is what allowed me to gather as much knowledge from him as possible. All right. So with knowledge, you can shortcut how long it takes you to go from problem to solution. And now I make hiring mentors just a part of operations. It's just a part of operations. Anything that I need to learn, I'll look for a mentor that I can hire. All right. I've been starting to deploy cash flow that we've been producing on the blockchain into real estate. And it just hit me. I'm trying to figure this thing out on my own. I went and hired a mentor, and now I know how to manage properties. I know how to find deals. I know how to work with lenders. And it's crazy how quickly we're making progress simply because we hired the right person and we got around the right people. Knowledge and proximity. The beautiful thing about this is they work and they start compounding, right? This guy has been working on his business as an in-person trainer for almost 10 years. I was able to download 10 years of his experience and get results in 3 months, right? This guy that we hired recently as a real estate mentor had been in real estate for over 5 years now, but now I've been able to download those 5 years of information from him. And now we're starting to see the same results. All right. Now I find and actively hire mentors because it allowed me to download information from their brain that may have took them 5 to 10 years to acquire. But now I can download that information in a matter of months. Remember, time and randomness are two undefeated players in the universe. You can't stop time from passing and you can't stop random things from happening. All right. So for me, I want to figure out how can I recruit these undefeated players to my side? And I realized that knowledge and proximity is what has allowed me to do that. By being around the right people and knowing the right things, I'm able to execute and get results that normally would have taken me like 10, maybe even 15 years to get. Now I'm able to get it in a matter of months, right? Knowledge and proximity allows me to recruit time to my side. And here's the beautiful thing about it. All right. Now, when it's really for this reason that I'm willing to ultimately pay whatever it's going to cost to acquire the knowledge that I need to make the progress that I want. And now that I'm kind of like going back and looking at it with knowledge and proximity has also been one of the most powerful tools in my success, right? Because I met this guy, I was able to get the knowledge, but also my partners and I invested $100,000 last year to be in a member like last year to be in a mentorship. And I met somebody in that mentorship who was actually able to connect me inside of a group of people who were investing in crypto. And then from that, I was able to learn how to invest in the blockchain, and I was able to get access to private deal flows that's allowed me to get like over 100x on different projects, right? Proximity allowed me to have access to opportunities that I would not have had if I wasn't in the right proximity with the right people, right? Now, proximity is a powerful and incredible amplifier that I've discovered, right? I used to not care about really being a part of different communities and really contributing to different masterminds that I was in until I discovered how powerful proximity is as an amplifier. Not only does it allow you to collapse time, but it allows random things to happen, right? Proximity is who you surround yourself with. The best people I have in my circle have been the results of me paying to be in those circles, right? I don't join free groups like that. I look to join paid groups because I know everyone who's in that group was willing to pay and invest in themselves enough. They believe enough in themselves and in the mission that they're working towards to pay somebody else to join this group to get the help that they need to reach and accomplish their goals, their ambitions, and their mission. Those are the types of people that I want to be surrounded by. So now I pay to just be in the right group just so I can meet different peoples in there and contribute to the community so more opportunities open themselves up. And this has been the most incredible thing that's happened. Like really focusing on just having and being surrounded by the right people has allowed incredible opportunities, like life-changing opportunities that happen that never would have happened before. All right. I met all my current business partners and referral partners through proximity via masterminds and networks that I had to pay to be a part of. Through proximity, I've been presented with life-changing opportunities that I never would have had if I wasn't in the right group and had a conversation with somebody who thought of me when an opportunity presented itself later on, like months down the line, who reached out to me and was like, hey, I remember we were having this conversation and I just met this guy who's working on this project and I thought about you. Let me know if you're interested. I'll make a connection. I'm like, absolutely. We make a connection and boom, randomness, random things happening that are working in my favor, that are working to help me get closer and closer to my goals. All right. Now, after reflecting and unpacking these things, I realize that these are things that I can actively tap into on a regular basis. I can actively tap into knowledge by working and networking and meeting the right people and hiring the right mentors and getting access, paying to get access to their circle of people and their circle of influence and contributing and meeting and networking with more people in that circle. And then before you know it, random things starts to happen. Like somebody hears about a project that I'm working on and then they meet somebody else and they're like, hey, dude, like, I think this guy Iggy would be great for helping you with this. And then referral happens and now we're doing business together. And it's incredible. All right. So those are the two things that I found that can actually buy you more time. Not in the sense that it's going to increase your lifespan, but in the sense that you're able to take what it took somebody else 10 years to accumulate, buy that 10 years of experience and knowledge from them, download it in a matter of months. And now the decisions you can make, you're making decisions with 10 years worth of experience that you didn't have to live to acquire, right? I just bought time. Now, proximity, being around the right people, allows me to meet somebody who is presented with a life-changing opportunity that thinks about me and invites me to join that opportunity with them. Randomness, right? But because I was in this circle, if I wasn't in that circle, I never would have had this opportunity. So I could have lived my entire life, 30, 20, maybe 15 more years. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be living, right? I could have lived my entire life never even knowing this opportunity existed. That's the power of these two things, knowledge and proximity. So for those of you guys who are listening or watching this or wherever you are, start thinking about the people that are where you want to be, doing the things that you want to be doing, and start asking yourself, how can I get in proximity with these people so I can start acquiring knowledge from them and learning from them and just observing how they're doing the things that they're doing and meeting those in their circle so that I can expand my proximity of people that can allow more random things to happen in my life that are going to drive me forward. All right. So those are the two things that have been extremely life-changing. I can't believe that it was never an actual success principle that I identified until I started reflecting towards the beginning of the year. And I was like, holy crap, my life has truly changed. And I found this pattern repeating itself. Here's the same for those of you guys who are listening and those of you guys who subscribe to the newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast already, go ahead and subscribe, leave a review. Let me know that you're tuning in. But for me, one of the things that I realized as I'm just kind of thinking about this is a pattern that's happened several times. And before I decide if something's a true principle based on my own experience, I have a rule. So 1 time is coincidence, 2 is a pattern, and 3 is enough to convict. What does that mean? And this applies to everything. So if I'm meeting with somebody and they say something offhand 1 time, I'm like, okay, coincidence, I can let it go. If it happens again, okay, I'm identifying a pattern here. I'm taking a mental note of that. If it happens the 3rd time, then I'm addressing it with the person head on, right? Not in a negative way. I'm just like, hey, I would appreciate if you don't do that, all right? Same thing with our clients. If I notice a client exhibiting a behavior that's going to prevent them from being successful, I make note of it. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a coincidence. If I see it again, I'm like, 2 times, that's a pattern. If I see it a 3rd time, I'm addressing it, right? And so it's the same thing when I'm reflecting on my life. If I see this principle applying itself, right, I'm like, okay, is knowledge and proximity, is this true? Is this a true success principle that I can actually document and start to use as a tool in my tool belt to engineer and continue to rig the game in my favor? I was all right, let's go back and unpack this. I'm like, okay, I was successful as an athlete because I was able to get knowledge from coaches, right? And meet the right people and make progress. I was able to become successful as a personal trainer because I met the right person, gained knowledge from them, and I was in close proximity with them. I was able to take my business online and ultimately get successful in taking my personal training business online because I joined the right mastermind, met the right people, gained some knowledge from them, and then was able to implement it and get success, right? And it just this pattern that kept repeating itself throughout my entire life, and it just blew my mind and it hit me like a stack of bricks. I'm like, I cannot believe that this was not a core success principle of mine for this entire time. All right. It was a core principle that I was living, but I never actually documented it and made it something that was just like, all right, I'm going to make sure I'm repeating this process every single time, even though I was just doing it naturally. Now I've been able to document it, and now I can intentionally repeat it and then pass it on to my clients as well so that they can intentionally repeat it. And I ultimately pass it off to you, those who are listening and watching, so you can become more mindful and aware of these opportunities to leverage knowledge and proximity in your entire life. All right. So what I want you to do, the takeaway here is going to be figure out what your intentions are for the year, right? For your life, right? And then think about like who has the knowledge who's doing this who's doing the thing that you want to do, and how can you get in close proximity with them so that you can start to acquire some of their knowledge and have access to the network of people. All right. So it's been incredible. Hopefully you found this helpful, and go ahead and subscribe, leave a review. And if you haven't yet, go to our website, check out previous episodes. We have free tools there. One of the most powerful tools that we have available for free now is what we call our Boring Money Cash Flow Calculator. You can go to mrboringmoney.com and you'll be able to subscribe to the podcast, and then also download that free tool. Till next time. Deuces. If you found this video helpful, chances are you're going to find a ton of value in our Boring Money community, where I'm in there live, actively sharing articles, market updates, and just educating you on what's going on in the market real time. So if you don't want to wait for another one of these episodes or another video training to come out, and you want to have live updates on what's happening in the market, go ahead and join the Boring Money community, where you can have access to us and be able to ask any questions that you want, and potentially even get featured in an episode. Till next time, hope to see you on the inside.